Dr. Charles Henry Turner is a scientist who inspires me. I chose him to research because his work was foundational to the field of entomology, a field that I'm interested in. Dr. Turner was a behavioral scientist who pioneered the field of insect behavior and advocated for racial equality in academia. He was born in 1867 in Cincinnati, Ohio, just 2 years after the end of the Civil War. As a child, he loved to read about insects, which led him to studying the insects he saw in his day to day life. After graduating as valedictorian from his high school, he went on to earn his BS in 1891 and MS in 1892 from the University of Cincinnati. From 1893 to 1905, he taught at Clark Atlanta University. He then returned to school to get his PhD, which he earned from the University of Chicago in 1907. Despite his qualifications and his considerable number of published papers, he struggled with finding a job due to the racist views held by academia. He taught science at Sumner High School in St. Louis from 1908 to 1922, where he was overworked and underpaid, not to mention that he was working well below his qualifications. He conducted experiments and published over 70 papers from the time of his graduation from University of Cincinnati until his retirement in 1922. He passed away in 1923 at the age of 56. Dr. Turner pioneered the field of insect behavior. His work proved that insects, like other animals, can observe and react to their environment, solve puzzles, and learn from past experiences. His research was in contrast to the common notion of the time that insects were not capable of thought and sort of robotically interacted with their environment. He tested hearing capabilities of moths through observing their responses to auditory stimuli and showed that they can be trained to exhibit Pavlovian responses to certain noises. He also showed that bees can recognize colors and patterns by training them to expect food from different colored and patterned boxes. He also studied ants and cockroaches' ability to solve mazes. Because he did most of his research while working at Sumner High, he was not able to access funding, equipment, or undergrad students to help with his research. Dr. Turner had a profound impact on the way we view bugs, as well as essentially creating the field of insect behavior. He was one of the first in his field to pay close attention to the variables in his experiments, such as the periods of time in between when he conducted his trials. Despite his lack of funding, time, and equipment, he published over 70 papers during his career. He also published what was possibly the first scientific paper by a black scientist. Additionally, he theorized that racism is the result of an unconscious response to the unfamiliar or a conscious response based on the behaviors of those around us, and that it can be addressed through education. He was also a leading figure for civil rights in St. Louis. Dr. Turner is truly a scientist who inspires me. He was determined in the face of constant adversity, and through his passion for both entomology and civil rights, changed the way we see the world. Thank you for listening.